one of the things when I moved to Ecuador that I promised myself I was going to do was to do things I'd never done before. And that's how I actually ended up writing. That, writing was not my lifelong dream. It was my sister's lifelong dream, but I never thought about being a writer. And so I ended up with a good friend who was a writer, and she was starting an authors support group. And she said, "Hey, will you come?" And I thought, "Oh, poor thing. Nobody's coming. I should go. I should support her." And what I should have known was that she was thinking, "No, you're not a writer yet, but we're going to make you one." So anyway, one of the things that I decided after I wrote my first series was that I wanted to write. I didn't even know then what to call it, but what I really wanted to write was a paranormal series. And I knew that there were some people within the expat community there who lived a paranormal life. And so I contacted one of them and I said, "Hey, I want more info." And they said, "Well, I'd be happy to give you more info, but this other person is a better person for you to ask. Ask them first. And if they say no, then come back." And I knew the other person. So I contacted her and she said, "Oh, sure. Let's start having lunch and I'll answer your questions." And I said, "Okay, great." And so I went to lunch with her and it lasted like 4 hours. And a couple weeks later, we went to lunch again. It lasted 4 hours. And this just kept going on and on. And I was just totally fascinated. She was a Peruvian trained shaman. And she believed in astral travel and all of the new age stuff. But it was very real for her. And for many people, she had a very large circle there. And I remember the very street corner I was standing on when she said, we were finally leaving after another one of these like 4 hour lunches. And she said, "Well, we're having a new moon ceremony on Sunday. Would you like to come?" And I was jumping up and down. And I said, "Oh, my life. I have wanted magic to be real. And I'm just so excited that magic is real. And yes, can I come, please?" And of course, I envisioned myself sitting in a corner watching whatever this thing was going to be. And it doesn't work that way. But these women were very powerful and they accomplished things. But I also saw things that were outside my realm of even imagination. And I really wanted to write about them. And so in 2017, I started writing this story about these fictional characters that I had created in my head, but where I told the story about something that happened in one of these, they had these meetings once a month in one of these meetings that I was at, where a woman seemed to be channeling someone else. And I wanted to share this story. And so I decided I was going to write it for NaNoWriMo. And I did. And I was also hearing somebody in the industry who was saying, "Keep your books at 50,000 words until you know if they're going to sell." And so I was like, never written a book that was only 50,000 words. I don't know if I can do this. And I got it all done, barely in time for NaNoWriMo. And my partner said, "The book is really good until you start to get to the end, and then it feels rushed." And I said, "Okay, I just need to rewrite this." And then life happened. And I kept thinking, I'm going to get back to it. I'm going to get back to it. And in the meantime, I started writing cozy mysteries. And then I decided I was going to write paranormal cozy mysteries. And I thought, I've got that story out there and it already has a mystery in it. And it wouldn't take much to make it into a cozy mystery. I had already set up this island, this private island, imaginary off the coast of North Carolina, Barrier Island. I had already created the patriarch of the family. So originally, Nellie was Nestor. And when I wrote the prequel, I sent it to my editor and she messaged me back and she said, you can't have a paranormal cozy mystery with a male main character. And I went, oh crap, you're right. And so Nestor became Nellie, became the grandmother instead of the grandfather. A few things had to change, but that is basically where that story came from. And there's a lot of things that happened in that series. There are things that I actually saw. And so magic is real.